Our group was basically looking at the fact that most people actually don't know how to evaluate the interventions that they take or that they purchase. And so creating an open source repository to effectively give them that information. Um, so I think the way this might look is by an example might be that I am want to take this new probiotic L. reuteri, and people it's pretty popular because it says people think it improves testosterone, or there's studies that claim it improves testosterone, oxytocin levels, intestinal permeability, all sorts of things, and I may not really understand how to test some of those things, and so someone who knows the research much better can actually create a protocol for how I might be able to test each of those things in myself prior to starting to take this new probiotic. Um, and then, uh, if there isn't an exact measurement for this, it could also use a proxy measurement. Um, and then how you might administer the treatment on yourself, and then when you should measure the biomarkers again. Um, Along with this is all kind of aligned with like the N of one study, and so we brought up things like making sure that you get a good baseline. So even when like clinically for testosterone replacement therapy, you often get, I think, at least two tests. So making sure that people get the correct number of tests to establish that baseline. Additionally, if you want to do some sort of like placebo control, making sure that you have time in between, do some sort of blinding, provide some sort of like method for doing a blinding, and making sure you have enough time to get back to baseline again. And then we also had a suggestion around like potentially even opening up this platform for allowing it to be crowdsourced. So as people discover better protocols to evaluate, again, these like common interventions or niche interventions even, they could rise to the top. So again, we would start with the 5 to 10 most popular interventions in the space. I don't know. You could imagine things that increase testosterone. That's pretty popular. I don't know. Vitamin D seems like a pretty basic one. Yeah, other things, and eventually, you might start suggesting things like agent clocks that Vadim was talking about earlier. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. We have time for a question. Question coming. Aaron. Oh.
So the biggest problem with open source of anything is that people in general don't know how to accurately measure themselves or to really be rigorous about their own data. So you're going to get a lot of like pollution with just weird data coming in. What's your plan for how to deal with that?
Yeah, I think the intention wasn't so much to collect the data per se, rather it's just to provide people with a protocol for how to evaluate the intervention for themselves. And so, I mean, I think the general goal that you're like, okay, well, what's the point of that if we're not getting the data? I would probably say it's to just start aligning the market. Like people should be interested in being able to see whether the thing that they're buying and spending money on is actually working for them. And if we give them a way to determine and it's not working for them, they will stop purchasing it, and maybe they'll report it or talk about it. So, but yeah, I generally agree with your point.